Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Richard Kosmala and friends.
I'll be your dream, I'll be your wish, I'll be your fantasy. I'll be your hope, I'll be your love, be everything that you need.
I love you more with every breath, truly, madly, deeply do. I will be strong, I will be faithful, cause I'm counting on a new beginning, a reason for living, a deeper meaning. I wanna stand with you on a mountain, I wanna bathe with you in the sea, I wanna lay like this forever, until the sky falls down on me. And when the stars are shining brightly in the velvet sky, I'll make a wish, send it to heaven, then make you wanna cry. The tears of joy for all the pleasure and the certainty that we're surrounded by the comfort and protection of the highest power. In lonely hours, the tears devour you. I wanna stand with you on a mountain, I wanna bathe with you in the sea, I wanna lay like this forever, until the sky falls down on me, falls down on me.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Another fine and excitable Saturday afternoon in HD1 means another fine and excitable podcast. Welcome to episode 29 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. Today, like the 90s Manchester United, we have three big lads surrounding the referee. As usual, I'm Matt. Returning from his Iberian adventures, we have Richard Kosmala. And back in the comfy faux leather reclining chair is Neil, the Wapanator Wayne. And today we have a special guest, a very big warm welcome and a God kveld to former select group and Premier League referee Bobby Madley.
Tusen tack, det var väldigt bra.
I only did good evening. That was
yeah, good evening. I won't tell you what I called you in Norwegian there.
A babblefish will be on later. Right then, guys. So Huddersfield Town 1, Leicester City 4. So we're trying to think where to start with this one. So essentially,
I'll sum it up for you. We scored, we got a penalty. The end of the show. Thanks for listening.
So we've had the fourth and fifth different systems that we've used in 10 games. It's obvious Jan Zievert's trying out different players, different scenarios. He said after the game he enjoys learning about these players in particular as well. So what I mean by those systems is we've seen a 4-3-3 at the start. We've seen his diamond 4-4-2, his standard 4-2-3-1, a 4-2-3-1 double six, which is popular in Germany, which we saw on Saturday, and 4-4-2 for the rest of the game. One point Julian Winter said when we appointed Jan Sievert is that he's nothing like David Wagner, and I'm mindful of that. But what happened when Wagner came in? He said, right, we're from Dortmund. This is what we do. We play 4-2-3-1. These are our, what he referred to as reactive pressure, trigger points here, 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 here. Get on board or get out. What we're seeing is a different approach. May have come from the same club, but a very different approach from Jan Sievert. He's looking perhaps to work with players out in different scenarios, different positions and systems. So we see a coach with more of a tactical fluidity, if you like, and a focus on players rather than systems. So I guess, Neil, it may get worse before it gets better.
There's no sign about getting better, is there? It's just grim. And then you watch that on Saturday. And like I said at the start there, the only thing that's good about it, we got a pen and we scored. The rest of it was abysmal.
It made me laugh. It was like, sometimes five-a-side, you don't really know some of the players. Sometimes you have a game where you get a few, and then there comes a point where sometimes someone's got to be big and stop the game after half an hour, lads. This isn't working. You need to swap so-and-so, so-and-so. And I was just thinking, can we have Maddison? Can we have Harvey Barnes? And then we might have a contest here. I was shocked how far they were better than us. But at the end of the day, Mooney's goal goes in and we're somehow level at 2-2. They were so much better than us. Quicker, faster, sharper. They played the football that I'd love our teams to be playing. And it were like, wow, it was very...
just constant chop and change.
They're mid-table, Neil. They're not even a...
We've all tried to be positive and say with this, with that, he's trying this, he's trying that. But you can try too much in such a short space of time, and what they're doing at training pitch every week, it must be so confusing because it must change every week. There's zero continuity whatsoever. And then the one thing that I've gone on about this on Twitter a bit. The one thing that stood out for me on Saturday were the chance that Grant had. Great ball in from Mbenza, Grant chance, goal poacher, great save from Schmeichel. And then not long after that, we bring Mooney on and move Grant 15 yards further backwards. He's only natural goal scorer we've got in club. Why the bloody hell do you take him away from any place where he can do his damage? And that just, I was ready for getting up and going, then I was done.
It kind of looks like he wants to see if he can do damage from there. We probably know the answer, but it looks like he's tinkering.
He's paid a fortune. He should know that already. He shouldn't need to be trying that. He should know that already. We do.
Because Bobby, you have an insight into football as well, and you've seen that football. You know, they work with data analysts. You know, you get a number of different people on laptops doing different things. When the process of signing a player, you get a dossier almost, don't you? Of this player can do this in this situation, here, there, here, there, here, there. Do you ever, when you're on the field in a Premier League game, do you ever sort of think as well? What's he doing there, and should he be there? And
yeah, of course you do. I mean, so we'd spend I'd spend a week having a look at teams' tactics and seeing what positions they play and what formations they play. Huddersfield must be a nightmare at the moment because the referees wouldn't have a clue which one was turning up. And I listened to Barry Douglas, the Leeds lad. He was talking to Adam Pope on the radio, and it was interesting because he went through his manager's methods, which was basically he came in and when I came to Leeds, I had to get used to that because he's sticking by that. And like I said, the last manager's come into town and gone, this is my style and this is what we do. It kind of feels like at the moment that we're trying to find a formation around a couple of players. And there's no guarantee that those players are there next year. So it's all right trying things out, but why not try a formation out now? And if you're getting beat 2 or 3 every week, that's fine. But at least let the players know that by the time they start next season, you hit the ground running with a formation that is working a little better. It's like you said at the moment on a training ground, that the guys must be going in. And as a ref, if I was going in and saying 1 week this is a yellow card, and then the next week they go on and we've changed his mind, that's not a yellow card anymore. It's got to be confusing for a player. It must
completely.
So, Kosi, there's been a little bit of heat for Jan Zievert as well as on the online. I think we sat here last week, didn't we? And we sort of said, right, we're relegated. This is definitely now a pre-season, if you like, for Jan Zievert. 1 game in, people are losing it a bit. Do you think perhaps we need to roll back, chill out, and just think, you know what, he's trying different things, he's doing this, doing that, and maybe it's going to, like I said before, maybe it gets worse before it gets better?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say told you so, but 16-game pre-season, and unfortunately, that's exactly how it's turning out to be. However, I think the problem for me is building round, like you were saying there, Bobby. Who's going to be there next season? We were on about the West Brom bounce, and we wanted what kind of they did last season, and kind of, I don't know, the nucleus of 5, 6, 7 players, and I'm just looking around at the moment and thinking, Bacuna, Grant.
And he dropped Bacuna as well, didn't he?
To be honest, now it's more the case you're looking thinking, not so much who's going to be here, but who do you want to be here?
Yeah, I mean,
it's down to that.
I know Bacuna been playing kind of right back at times, but Maddison ran riot. Bacuna he could have done a job on him out. Didn't know what were going on there, to be honest with you.
Chucking Moy out wide on right. What are you doing? He's your best player. Yeah. Chances are he ain't going to be here next season because that being funny. He's far too good for the Championship. So he's not here next season, but while he's here, and he's doing everything professionally, because that's what Aaron Moy does day in, day out, you can just tell he's that kind of bloke. Play him in his best position, let the team focus on what Aaron Moy does, let him build everything, because he's our one player that is genuine Premier League quality.
Is it naive, Neil, to think, God, I'm sounding like you, Matt, here, presenting it all, but
Go for it, mate.
16 games, we've beaten Wolves, we drew against...
No, you're doing it, mate.
Everton. No, sorry. Since Sievert come in, no.
Since Sievert came in,
no. We beat Wolves and we've drawn Have we drawn somewhere else?
No.
We've got loads of players that. Is it naive enough to think we don't win another game? which is looking very likely, mass clear out.
You can't see a win, can you?
And then
Tottenham, Liverpool, Man U.
And then us mass cleared out. It's all a confusing picture on the pitch, which obviously is going to be with different players, different systems, and then throwing loads of transfers coming in 8, 9, 10, and then Huddersfield Town and be expected to be pushing for promotion next season. I just think there's so much to do. I don't think there's a nucleus where you can kind of build. Although you could argue the other way, where Stoke maybe thought, well, we had that. We had the nucleus, and that's not worked for them.
One of the other things that got me, though, Saturday, when he saw a team come through, he's made a real point of sort of pushing youth to the forefront in the last few games. I like that. At least that does show a bit of sort of forward planning. But then on Saturday, there's none of them. Not even on bench.
Matt Daly was ill, wasn't there? But yeah, there are others.
It's like...
Yeah, they were there a few weeks back. Now they're out.
But why aren't they involved?
The only thing I can think of... There's no point having them
involved to an extent in others, and all of a sudden, we're not doing that now. This is the ideal time to give those lads, because they will be here next season. So this, to me, is the ideal... They're not going to get better experience than playing Tottenham, Liverpool, Man U, Watford who are in FA Cup final. This is the time to give those lads some real minutes.
It looks like a lot of them have played midweek, haven't they, for the under-19s, where we've seen a player me and you have been calling for, Abdelhamid Sabir. He's not really featured at all. He's almost like, I'm expecting to see him turn up on the side of a milk carton somewhere in Huddersfield. Have you seen this boy?
I can take defeats, Matt, but I just Grant, yeah, Grant thumbs up, Bakuna thumbs up, but he's going to be chopping and changing. But I could kind of feel the frustration. I thought there were quite a lot of good tweets and stuff that I saw on social media where it were like, I get it, Jan, that we're going down. I get you've got to try things, but with so little games to go, there doesn't look like a formation or I don't know. We just look a confused picture. We look like, to me, a team that's going to end up 15th to 16th next year unless we get some incredible signings in and that as well. I'm not sure. It's just an odd picture, mate.
It needs. That's what I'm saying about it. He's not so much who's going; it's who you'd want to stay. And that list, week on week at minute, is getting smaller and smaller. I'm struggling to put a five-a-side team out a minute. Ones you'd want to keep.
So I threw out the tweet regarding this. It was very similar to ask for some opinions. It's about the 4th and 5th different system in 10 games. In your opinion, do you think Jan is right to tinker and learn about players, or should he be trying to bed in a system and the players into it for next season? So we've had quite a good response. So Tanzanian Terrier says, I'm guessing he is looking at all the players who are likely to be staying, seeing how adaptable and resilient they are in different positions as well as in different formations, how committed they are, then he can make a judgment as to what additional players he needs. So you guys jump in if you like.
Bobby was right in what he said before. It's got to be completely confusing every week, and it's, for me, like Bobby said, you've got to put in a style of play. When Wagner came, he wanted to implement a certain style of play
immediately,
and he did it. First game, we had Kyle Dempsey playing left back. He changed everything round, but you could see. From minute one of that first, you could see from minute one at warm-up at Sheffield Wednesday.
There's a plan, wasn't there?
There was a plan. And then the game kicked off, definite plan. Same again week after against Middlesbrough. And those players that were still here the season after, even though there were God knows how many brought in, knew that when they were playing in a certain position in that team, they knew the job. It would just... Same.
This is what
day
you do,
in,
yeah.
day out. You learn this, you learn that, you learn this, you learn that, and that's what you do.
I think as a fan,
he's not doing that at all.
I think as a fan, Bobby, as well, is because we've obviously been starved of success for most of our lives. So when you get somebody like David Wagner, who, in my opinion, is probably the best manager we've had for almost 100 years, it's very easy, isn't it, to say, well, David Wagner did this, and then follow that sort of line of thinking. Yeah,
it is. And then when you look at Man United, I mean, if you're going to follow Alex Ferguson, their achievements probably feels the same to an Huddersfield fan for Town getting into the Premier League. So to follow that were never going to be easy.
No.
But again, we're talking about players, and a player's going to stay next season. At the moment, if I were a player and I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, well, I'm not playing every week. I don't know what position I'm playing every week. Do I even want to be at the club next year? Do you know what I mean? Is there a place for me? Yeah. I'm sure conversations are had off.
What's the plan? The players are going to be sat after training going...
And again, if you're looking at players, bringing them in and you're sitting them down, and I'm sure when when Dean and David have sat down with players to bring in, they've gone, look, this is the vision.
Yeah,
this is how we play. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
At the moment, a player coming in, I'm sure players would do research on town. I'd be looking at that and going, well, I don't know what position I'd be playing. I don't know what position we'll be playing as a team. And you know, you've got some big teams around here, especially with Leeds potentially swapping places next season.
Yeah.
Anyone who's going to come, anyone's going to want to come and live in West Yorkshire.
It will be living
It
in
just
denial.
seems that could be a more attractive place. You've got a manager there who knows exactly what he's doing.
There's a plan. That's what they do.
Yeah, and they're doing this season what we did last year, or we did a couple of years ago. They're overachieving with a good manager, and it might just work to get him in the Premier League. So yeah, it's a struggle.
Are you worried, Neil? Because I could sense on Saturday a lot of the tweets, because I've been, see that give my guy a chance. I like what he's doing.
Maybe confused, definitely.
Yeah.
Because when he came in, because he's come from Germany and he's come from the same background as Wagner, I'm not saying I wanted to come in and clone what Wagner's doing, because it needed a change, whether it be slight, major, whatever. But I expected him to come and have a plan and do it one way, have his way, and this is the way we're going to do it. This is how I want to do it.
He's still working that plan out, isn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't know what his plan is. And if he did, and he's changed it so easily, so quickly with these players, that'd be a worry for me.
Perhaps the problem is, I mean, he's coming from the same club that will have that same emphasis on that kind of position. It's quite clear that Dortmund have got that plan as a club.
Yeah.
If he's coming in and he's already working with that plan, and that plan's not working in England, he's no longer working with that team. Perhaps that's what is in his head, thinking maybe that was his plan. It was the same plan as before, but it's not working.
Yeah, it don't work.
So therefore, maybe he as a manager's trying to change and find something different and adapt to English football. But
which is a worry.
It is worrying, yeah, it is.
Possibly, and one worrying thing is that when I came home on Saturday, been the stats man, Neil, which gets you every time, doesn't it? So what I noticed is since Jan came in, I'm not going to count the Everton game because it doesn't suit it doesn't suit my agenda, but it was like he didn't really have much time to. We lost 1-0. He didn't have much time to put his thoughts in, so I'll give him a full week. But in the 9 games since, we've conceded 23 goals, 12 of them, so which is slightly
Ben Hamer's fault.
12 of them are in the last 25 minutes. And that kind of, to me, shows you that maybe the players are thinking, this isn't working, what we're doing is not working, and they're losing faith in what's being delivered to them, and therefore we're conceding. Like Leicester, they scored 79-84, Palace 76-78, 88, sorry, West Ham 75-84, 91, and etc. etc. And it just feels like we start okay, and then it all unravels, and everybody kind of goes, well, what are we doing?
And it's not burnout, is it?
No,
it's not burnout like the flog the soul. Like when Wagner first took over and he changed the style, you could see after 70 minutes they were absolutely knackered because they weren't fit enough for that style. But because he implemented it straight away, everybody forgave him that and defeats, because you were sat there genuinely excited about this bloke who come and built this. He'd put a plan in place, and you were hopeful and excited about what were happening. Whereas now, the collapses come. But it's not because they're burnt out, it's just because I genuinely think a lot of it's down to just land of confusion, and it's square pegs round holes, and who's playing, who ain't playing, and who's faced. And let's be honest, there's been a few players have been bombed out blatantly, and I've not got an issue with that 100%. But those players that have been bombed out are also part of the same squad that did so well and that was so together last season. So you start falling out with one player who was mates with 3 players who are still playing. That's how football works at any level of football. If you really cheese off one lad who's a popular lad and has 3 or 4 really good friends in there,
it's a hierarchy.
And people will say the professionals getting paid. Don't work like that. It's people. It's about people.
I'm kind of thinking, I wonder what the training ground setup is, Neil. I wonder whether it's on your own, don't come in, judo, running. I remember a couple of guys I know who played professionally used to say that, managers sometimes just disown them, train with the kids, didn't even talk to them and that as well.
Diakana said that about Wagner as well, didn't he? In his kitchen.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. When they come to Canal Side, what do they do? That can't be good.
Play cards, but looks of it.
Yeah. I like what he's done, but
one thing I find interesting as well, because is David Wagner insisted on an English culture at Huddersfield Town, and he insisted everybody spoke English at all times. I'm just wondering if Jan does the same, or whether there's a mishmash going on, or if the cliques are up, because obviously cliques open up if everybody speaks different language. You don't speak that language, you tend to move away. So I'm just interested. I'm not trying to stir or anything. I'm just interested to know. I wonder what's going on behind the scenes, and we all
I feel sorry for him to an extent because
we all want him to do well.
He walked into a thankless task. We were down.
Yeah,
we were already 4 in. We were done, but he hadn't helped himself with the constant chop change.
But this is perhaps what the club expected when you appoint a young manager who's only really been around the German 4th tier, maybe into the Premier League. He's parachuted in.
And that's why it was a big call.
It's a big ask. Yeah, it's a big ask.
It was a big call.
It's a big ask, and he's got the job now. So I think.
Well, you'd openly said, hadn't you? You'd hope by now that because we'd had David Wagner who'd done so well and we got to the Premier League, that by now we'd be in a position where we could sort of cherry pick a better quality manager in amongst, and
I thought the club had moved on
from building up, but we've actually taken a step. I'd argue not even sideways, slightly.
It feels like we've gone back to 2015. Just
and hoping it works again.
Yeah, there were 2 names I threw in, which may have been realistic, may have not been. Might have been pie in the sky. I think one of them was Peter Sturger, wasn't it? The guy that had been most of it from Cologne, and he'd done a good job there. And the other one was Stefan Baumgart, I think is his name. He's at Paderborn. And he's built up from, so he's one who's built up through the leagues. But we've got Jan Sievert now, so there's no point
daft when we go down. There's going to be work to do, but it just feels like we've got a hell of a lot of work to do. But then and again, we're losing 27 games out of. Maybe should it's. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think Sievert will be here next season?
I'm not sure, especially.
Yeah, I think he'll start.
It depends who's the owners. To be honest with you,
yeah,
it depends. Again, we
That's
don't.
an all-new podcast.
Yeah, but it's really difficult because if you're judging him on, I've said to everyone I can't judge him on 16 games, but I can kind of get the people who are a bit like you've just said, the concerns that are coming out there and that as well. I don't, even if by a fluke and miracle or something we beat Tottenham, I haven't been drinking by the way, but I don't think it'll have any bearing. I don't think
if we beat Tottenham,
I don't think that. In the last 5 games, if we did well in one or 2 of them, I don't think it'll have any bearing for August. But then I'm thinking something. I'm wanting something to cling on to, and I'm just coming away empty,
We've been wanting that from day he walked in door. Just
to
give us something to hang us out on to put us into next season.
Well, Cameron Grant, that's what we've had. Cameron Grant, sorry.
Can't do it on his own, can he?
I still think people are going overboard.
When he was doing it, they moved him out. When he was doing it on Saturday, see you later, mate.
He's 21-year-old.
It's people.
If everyone was piling everything on the back of Carl and Grant, we'll soon crumble him, won't we?
Got to let the lad develop, haven't you? Give him time. But hopefully we'll bring someone in the summer and we will have new heroes.
It's going to be a busy summer, isn't it?
With seconds left of first half injury time. Ince with a repeat corner from the right. Left footed, near post. Schindler flicks it. 1-0 Huddersfield Town. Christopher Schindler has met Tom Ince's corner. It might have taken another deflection, but Town's talisman defender has broken Man City's defence. What about this for a scoreline? Unbelievable. Huddersfield Town 1. Premier League leaders Man City 0.
Speaking of busy, we've got loads of tweets that have come in on this one.
This
so
is where I opt out.
We'll fire through them. So feel free to jump in, pick the microphone back up, Neil, if you want on this one. But Hotline Billing says there's no point cementing a system with players that aren't likely to play for Huddersfield Town next season. Use the freedom we've got now on the pitch to tinker about and make sure one is sorted by the time pre-season comes round, which I think got covered there. But that started a whole new conversation with Liam Fletcher, who said, is it better not to get a system in place now rather than pre-season?
But do you think...
Down to manager.
Do you think, though, Neil, that... So you see that's an experience kind of with senior football. If you're a footballer, and I know naive enough to wages and what have you, but if you're Huddersfield Town and Jan Sievert, you'd be thinking, what do you play and what's your formation, what's your tactics, what's
your MO?
What
are you about?
Question number one, but it's... I think... You like David Wagner... He would do stuff with players that when he first took over that wasn't set up to do what he did, and you could see. I know we were spoiled, but it's like this. If you're in the summer, I'm just thinking, I want to come to you. Okay, Jan, and a lot of them probably watch English football and they'll be thinking, I'm confused here. What am I joining?
I'm confused.
Yeah.
If I'm confused watching it as a layman, and how can the players look utterly baffled, and they're professionals doing it day in day out, and the training ground just must be. It's land of confusion. It must be because it's different just day in day out.
Where were Bakuna on this Saturday? That's bizarre.
That's just I don't get it.
No, especially when Madison just absolutely ran the show and needed a good kicking and someone to stop him, and they weren't there. They were doing what they wanted in midfield. It were embarrassing.
Og and Stankovic, you just can't play them together. It don't work.
No. Well, that's like it. Apparently, it's.
You shove on one of them in and shove Darren Boy over there. You'll go over there and
out
of way, but you can't affect out.
Yeah, I don't get
Brilliant.
Playing Chris Lowe, I said last week, didn't it? With all the Premier League money we've got, and we're still playing Aaron Moy and Chris Lowe on the wing.
We're playing a good left back, to be fair to Lowe. I hope he's still here next season because he's a good left back at that level. But playing him up so far up at the top end in the Premier League is just wrong.
He's going off like this, isn't he?
Every level are wrong, isn't it?
But yeah, it just feels strange, but
feels like a bodge.
Part of me just wants to say, look, let's just give him these 6 games and see what he's doing, and then hopefully next season. But it just feels a little bit like we're just grabbing at fresh, grabbing.
Might we have? Oh God, it's all after the event, but Hudson in or someone to sit there and season, then a new manager, because I thought I think
that would have helped him with a lot of fans. I think that would have helped. I think he's associated now, isn't he, with this relegation? Even though it's not his problem, and he's coming halfway through a transfer window, people are going to say Jan Zivert was the manager that took, head coach that took.
That's the hard thing, isn't it? When you can criticise Town for taking a risk on a manager, I suppose they could have gone out there and got one of the guys who do the rounds a little bit, and I'm sure we could have got one of those names. Yeah, the guys who will come in and do it.
Thank God we didn't.
Yeah, and I think it's a brave move from Town to do it, to bring someone in that's untested, who'd done it before and it worked. But like you lads have already said, he came in a position where you're down already. It's hard to get a manager to come in and put a relegation on the CV when it's not their fault and it's not their team to do it. So you've got a guy that's coming, so I think he does need a little bit of slack being cut, and it is a difficult time. It just feels like it's a bit of, like you've said, it's a confusion. Kind of feel like we've ended a really incredible 2 years. This year hasn't been great, I get that, but it's been an incredible journey, if you want to put it that. Kind of feels like it's going out with a bit of a whimper, and Bobby, it's a shame for fans.
We all experience, obviously, the championship, on the pitch, seeing what. Because part of me thinks you can say an experiment, but the Premier League is such a ruthless league. It finds you out. What kind of worries you, with Town going into the championship? Or does it not? Do you just think the standard is just like where we left it? Because to me, the Premier League, it seems to me this year, I don't know, is it any better than other years, or have we missed a trick? How have you seen it from the kind of with you?
I think the Championship for any club is the most dangerous league to be in, because I just think Norwich can start the season and don't know whether they're going to win the league or go down, because I think all the squads in there, they're so capable of beating each other. You've seen this year, there's nobody that's absolutely rock bottom. There's no one in our position basically. That's Bolton haven't been great, and there's nobody that's flown away with it. The 3 teams are up near the top, but again, they've not blown other teams away. The danger for Town is that they overcommit to do the West Brom and go for the bounce straight back, and they end up doing what Sunderland did. That the players stick around for a bit of money, or the wrong players stick around. I think expectations so difficult next year as a fan. I don't know what. For me, I said before, I think consolidation has to be number 1. Don't go down again, because we've seen so many teams, Blackpool, Portsmouth, that suddenly they just lost and you're back in the 3rd and 4th division.
You're younger than us, Bobby, but a lot of fans that are older than us will remember 1972, 73, that sort of era where Huddersfield went down again.
But Dean said that on his statement, didn't he, the other week, and a lot of people will sneer at that, saying consolidation. And a lot of people go, hang on a minute, with 8,500 tickets, we got the parachute payment, we're gonna. But honestly, I'm a bit more cautious, safety first. But that's my kind of. I'm more worried that we're going to go through again than we are.
I think more optimistic to go. We're all going into next season. Not a clue what to expect.
No.
Because we don't know for sure, and I'm going to say it, we don't know for sure who's going to be owning club, who's going to be manager at club, and we certainly don't know who players are going to be. So the level of uncertainty...
There's loads of red flags out there.
Yeah, so the level of uncertainty there. We haven't got a director of football yet, which is a major red flag for me. So the level of uncertainty there is at every level of this club at the moment. So however much money you've got, millions in bank for coming down and whatever you've earned, it means absolutely nothing to anybody else other 23 teams in Championship.
It may
so
take...
consolidation is clearly the sensible option for next year.
I think that what
and
people
then out
worry
above
about...
that, happy days, take it out below that, here we go again.
So what people I think might worry about, Neil, is people kind of look at it and go, we get parachute payments of 3 years. You get a big one first of all, don't you? Then it gets lower and lower.
Yeah.
And people will probably think, we've only got 3 years to get back, otherwise it's going to take another miracle. And I think that's probably in the back of some people's minds.
We get 40 odd million, don't we, that first year, and then and after that it's kind of different.
Yeah,
but
it's
it is
14, I think, the third.
Yeah, it's,
so
just,
I
it's so
look at
weird
it
at the moment.
differently, 'cause if it were me who was the owner, I wouldn't touch parachute money because the club has got to be. I were out there 14, 15 years ago shaking buckets trying to raise pounds to get to keep us alive and then selling T-shirts to save the club and get the shares back and all that kind of stuff. So we're all sat here have seen us on the brink of being AFC Huddersfield rather than Huddersfield Town. So that'll never leave me. And as much as I don't want us to be saying like we used to do, we can't compete with likes of X, Y, and Z because we clearly can. We've got a couple of bob now, but it's how we do it. I won't touch any parachute money. I'd make sure that the club had solid foundations for God knows how long. I think the training ground investment's the best thing they could have done with that. I'd much rather spend 20 million on that than 20 million on, Solanke, who's got one goal in, 45 years.
It's not that old.
But you know what I mean? It's that's to go and blow 19, 20 million quid, which we could have done, probably still wouldn't have kept us up. And then we're not adding anything to infrastructure. And then what I would do is, if we're going to sell, say Aaron Moy goes, Philip Billings gone, Lossell gone, I'm not going to get up for him, mind. Zanka gone, Depoitre gone. The list is going to be, it's going to be in double figures who leaves this summer. Whatever he thinks, it's going to be in double figures. If we rake in 50, 60, 70 million quid,
it's a bit of a stretch.
At a stretch, but if we rake in, say if we go 50 million then, that's where I'd be looking to reinvest. I'm not saying go and blow 50 million because I don't think for a minute we'll spend anywhere near like that because we haven't spent that either the seasons that we've been in Premier League. But that's where I'd be using money to invest, not the parachute money. The parachute money's there for me for making sure that Huddersfield Town never become AFC Huddersfield.
That's that is a positive we've got to look at. And I know we're out of the Premier League now, but there's so many teams who've taken that gamble. So many teams that have gone, Bradford, who've paid massive money to players who have had no allegiance to a club, no commitment to a club. They've gone for the money, and as soon as they've gone down, they're gone. Or you're left with a guy on 50 grand a week that you can't afford. So as a business, from a business perspective, I think they've done brilliantly. Okay, it would be nice to be pushing for a place in Europe, but realistically we'd have been looking to push to stay up every year. We'd have been trying to play for 17th place. And as a fan, that can become frustrating, I think, a little bit. When you're getting beat every week and you're basically pinning your season on winning 7 games.
That's how West Brom have found themselves.
It's not the best, is it?
But they're going down, but they're not going down in a position financially where we're looking and thinking, God, we haven't got a club because we've gambled. So gamble didn't pay off of, not spending it, but at least we've still got a club next season that we've still got a chance with that money to sell it. What
I find interesting is people always say, the Premier League, there's all this money. And when you go up and you spend £100 million and get relegated, there's not a lot of money left. So you kind of have to...
You don't get much for your money these days.
It scares me though next season, Neil. And it scares me a little bit now just for the reasons you've said there. I should be thinking, can't wait to get back. I am from a point of view of, competitive games, thinking when we go in a ground we might have a chance of winning and something exciting happening. But it's scaring me a little that, I know we've done it at F big teams and it's not all it seems to be, but Rotherham, the likes, battling life's hungry players. Who's hungry for Huddersfield Town? Obviously, there's going to be loads of players.
That's why it needs an influx out, in and an exodus out.
Yeah. Has everybody got a release clause in the contract? I'm sure I had that quoted.
They will have.
Every single player. Yeah. So in effect, anyone could go, obviously.
One thing, Dean knows a lot of things, a lot of positive things, And one thing he's a very astute businessman.
Do you mean a transfer release clause?
There's absolutely no way
I'm sure
that those players will be going down there on Premier League wages.
Yeah.
No, I think what it means is a transfer release clause rather than a...
There'll be a few of them with us.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
I
don't think there's any doubt about it.
We'll probably never find out. That's the way the club operates. Everything.
I mean, we've said it all along. None of us here are disappointed that we're going down. It's how we're going down. That's the thing. We're going down awful. It's just we're whimpering, and we've been whimpering since Christmas, and that's
whimpering since last year.
Yeah, it's not how we get. It's not how we, the fact that we're down. It's just.
I think I've kind of part that, Neil. We're down, and obviously we've known it for ages. But I'm kind of right. Okay, that we're done. What's the plan? And exactly what you've just said there. It's hard to know what it is at the moment, and that's well. The results really are either here or there now between now and May the 12th.
There's that much going on that we don't know about,
Yeah.
and obviously there's rumours flying everywhere about, who owners are going to be and whatever else, and the club has been openly for sale for a long time, and I think we all know at some point Dean Oil is going to go, and especially after having all the, fella's been seriously ill for months this season. It's on the brink, and there comes a point where, for himself, for his sanity, for his health, for his family, some things are far more important than Huddersfield Town Football Club, and nobody at any point could hold anything against Dean Oil for what he's done for this football club, because without Dean Oil, chances are we probably would have been in AFC Huddersfield.
So just to clarify what you mean by on sale, I think you're referring to when Dean Hoyle said he would step aside for the right person.
He's been said that
just in case anybody's panicking.
But, but I think the thing is,
but I would guess that that's probably nearer than it ever has been.
But I mean, if we're thinking it, what's round the corner, then these guys, from other countries and that play for our team are going to be thinking, well, what's the plan? What's happening here? It's not just on the pitch, mate.
I'm going to throw it in there, and this affects so many footballers in this country and people who work in football in this country. But the current state of this country will affect a lot of people, one way or the other, positively, negatively, and that's probably a bigger story for another day. That could be an old.
Brexit to Brexit.
The Brexit episode, So,
well, the interesting thing is they've not really released any details of how it's going to affect signing players from. Because Huddersfield signed players from Europe, so we don't know how that's going to be affected yet. Is it bringing players in from Europe?
Will they need work permits, etc.? Staying here with their families and etc. And it's a.
I don't think anyone.
I think it'll lead to a lot of uncertainty for a lot of people. Not just those who are resident here now. It's and rightly so, but it's.
So I'll finish those tweets. We'll finish the tweets.
Yeah, sorry, I've gone on a bit.
It's all right. I think we've all gone off on one, haven't we? So Chris Ellis says, I genuinely don't think Jan Ziva will be here next season, but not sure any of what's happening is relevant. Lee Spate says, you don't scout a manager for 2 years to blow him out after a quarter of a season with a team that isn't his, with who have a losing mentality already given thinking about their next move. Miles Dixon says, we're in a position financially where I'm sure we could attract a Jukanovic or an Alex Neil. I'm not sure about Jukanovic. I think he was on absolute bucket loads and all sorts at Fulham.
Well, you've got to look at what Fulham spent.
Yeah. At HTFC Dream says, I think Jan Ziva maintains attacking football. I think he's also looking at who to get rid of, and he's done the right thing in dropping the Danish 3. We have to see Hamer performance. I have to say that the Hamer performance was a blessing on Saturday. He can't hoodwink the manager that he's any good.
Yeah. So was this sent before today's press conference? Or?
It was, yeah. So Molly Firth says, personally, I think now is a good time to experiment a bit with everyone and see where and how they play in slightly different positions. Then in pre-season, once many of them have left, he should instill a more clear identity within the team and focus on the system more. Nonsense HTAFC says it's fairly common that the preferred system for Jan Ziva is 4-3-3, and he's not really had any wingers to pick from since he's been here. Probably a fair point. So it would be good in these remaining games to at least see Mbenza, who's been struck down with an illness. Maybe with Mounier and Grant, not 7 defensive players would be a start. Joe Turner says he fears that Jan Ziva's out of his depth and his inexperience is showing. It's not a very good situation for him to walk into, though.
You can't blame people for having that view, really, as much as I'm backing him and the sympathies and what have you and that as well. You can't blame him. It's such an hard job. It's just, I can't blame that opinion, really.
No, you kind of want to be supportive, but you kind of understand where
people
are
you can, especially obviously his previous managerial history and that as well. So it's
Brady Frost sounds like an NRL, some kind of NFL player, doesn't it? Quarterback or something. There's a lot of uncertainty with players ahead of next season, so tinkering is the best option. He can learn about Bakuna, Rose, Stankovic, etc., and the system that gets the best out of them. It's a free swing until next season, so why not? Watson, DPW247 or 24/7, says it's worth trying different systems, etc. now, especially with the younger players against good opposition who want to win. No point trying row out wide pre-season versus Rochdale, for example. It's also got Stankovic into defensive midfield most of real pre-season and then settles the team early. Your mate Ben Thorns, who you probably sat there texting at the minute, Neil.
I am just replying to Ben Thorns or whatnot.
So he says he's impressed anyone can even tell what formation we play anymore. If Jan is the man to take us out of the championship, it will be down. Tell him he's negative while you're texting him as well. Tell him he's a whopper, yeah, that'll do. Dom Lister says he's completely right to tinker. He will have an idea.
Dom's a whopper and all.
I don't know Dom, so you can fill that one.
He's Ben's brother-in-law.
Runs in the family.
Whoppers everywhere.
Yeah. So completely right to tinker. He will have an idea regarding who will be here next season, so trying players in different positions formation should be beneficial for that reason. Still frustrating expecting to lose every week, like you say, Kosi, but the reality is that it's all about next now. Mike says he doesn't really rate him, thinks that he should be sacked and we should bring in Danny Cowley, who's at Lincoln. Is it Crowley or Cowley? I can't remember. I think it's Crowley, isn't it?
Cowley.
They're the two brothers there, aren't they? They're those two brothers. Yeah.
It's a big call.
Yeah, it's a big step up. Done a good job, but it's a big step up. His tinkering shows he has no plan or structure in how he wants to play. I know half the players will be gone in the summer, but Jan looks a little bit out of his depth. Ben Denby says it would be great in the last few games to see an attacking front three of Grant, Diakabi and someone else in front of a midfield.
Someone else, this is it, isn't it?
The options.
That sums it up, doesn't it? Yeah.
Lionel Messi will have him. Give me the someone else. See how we do.
Just give Roach shirt for the last 5 games. Let lad have it. Crack on.
I don't get why.
In front of Moy, Williams and Stankovic was his thing. To be fair, Moy, Williams, Stankovic seems an interesting.
Yeah, but
Sam
it
Law,
doesn't really matter, let's be fair. But you just want to see it's the plan more than the personnel.
Looks like Kane and Ali are out for Saturday. There's a chance, lads.
What if they keep it below 6?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying if they only have 9 players.
You do know it's been confirmed that Aim is starting, don't you?
Right, let's move on. So Sam Law says, I feel Siva is on a hiding to nothing with the situation being handed. He needs a solid transfer window to implement his system. Let's get behind him. The Janino says, tinker till the end of the season, then embed a system during pre-season. And just to get to the end, Dan Peckett, thanks for your feedback again, Dan, says, I'm honestly still not convinced by Ziva. I'd love nothing more for him to prove me wrong. I think we're all very happy for that to happen. Yeah. But I just don't see how he can blame players.
Nobody wants him to fail, Christ.
And he then mentions that he doesn't see how he can blame players that when he plays them out of position. He seems to blame a lot of other people instead of taking responsibility. Mark Harrison says, be a bit more pragmatic in the last few games and try and compete. Don't think about getting trounced at Spurs and Liverpool, or he doesn't think they'll do anyone any good. Bring back Lursel for a start and fight. And then John Smith at Cup Late Cake says, when teams change managers and styles, things can look all at sea for a while. My main concern, though, is a definite move away from the high press system as shown by the centre-backs, no longer pushed up to the halfway line, compressing safe to all the high presses. One of my favourites.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do next week. I'm going to make it my duty to find out what happened to Derby after that season when they won 1 game.
They didn't go back down. They didn't go
next season.
They finished, I think.
I want to know incomings and outcomings. Who were there? I want to kind of bring it to the table just to maybe
it's
the only team I've ever known that have been as much as drifters as we have in a relegation year. I'm sure there'll be others, but I want to kind of get.
There's a newspaper article with Paul Jewell, who was the manager, talking about Huddersfield.
So he did an interview, didn't he? Yorkshire Post with him and that as well. Yeah.
So that's a decent read actually. The last comment is Philip Lawton says, Jan Ziva has a very aggressive style. Is there a place in the modern game with that? And some of the players are a bit pampered. Does he need to have greater man management skills than he appears to have? I think that's something we've picked up on, Neil, isn't it? That he does get quite angry quite quickly. And I think that kind of anger, if you play that card every week, it's not going to work, is it, every week?
As a player, you turn off from it.
Yeah.
It's a lot more effective if it's a once-a-flood approach, because when it becomes normal, you do switch off from that. But if it's a bollocking every 6 weeks or whatever, and it's needed, you sit back and listen then, because he means it, because he's not like a ranter every week. But it is a bit common. At
The one thing I'm pinning my hopes to is that when Norwich appointed Daniel Farker, I think they had a similar season one year, and they were kind of like they didn't know what he was doing. They were a bit unsure, and lots of them wanted him out. And then in the second season, he's done an amazing job there, and then they're going to go up this year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know turnover of players. Jan's got it.
Because they lost Pritchard, didn't they? They lost Maddison. They lost some good players, but they had some young players come through as well.
We're going to be losing double figure players, and yeah, I suppose in the next few pods we'll probably be doing as would you keep or would you want to?
Did you think it was weird, Kosi, how Danny Williams was doing a load of interviews in the lead up to the game and then he never actually got on the field? I was kind of thinking, I'm going to see Danny Williams this week. We'll see if he's fit and ready and he can go next season. Then we never saw him. I just thought that was a little bit. I'm not saying.
No, but I mean, part of me wondered the same with the Wagner interview that just appeared. It was almost like, give me a nudge, I'm out of contract, or I'm looking for a manager job, and yeah, these things happen at this time of year, mate.
Town send it long. De Poitras got in behind Maguire. Oh, what a goal from Laurent De Poitras on his first Premier League start for Town. He out-muscles Harry Maguire and buries the chance past Kasper Schmeichel. Huddersfield Town 1, Leicester City 0. Welcome to Huddersfield, Lolo.
So we need to address the elephant in the room, and I don't mean the person that's eating all the jammy dodgers.
18th the year after.
Ooh, I was close with 17.
You know what? Oof, no, move on.
Yeah. It doesn't build his confidence, does it?
No.
So the elephant in the room, and I'm not talking about the jammy dodger situation.
Hammer time. Stop. I know what it is. Hammer time. Whoa.
It is. We need to talk about.
They signed 10 in the summer. Sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Neil, you've saved me a job, mate. Cheers, pal.
I like the way he's gathering facts one by one.
What's you'll be saying, Jim? If you say Jim Smith,
they
manager
signed 10
Neil.
in the summer and 6 on loan.
Robbie van der Laan up front. Come on, Neil.
Did he play for Pop Hill as well? Oh no, there was another one playing.
Yeah, that's it.
And they sold 12 and loaned out. Oh God, even more than that.
Who was the manager that year? What it Jewel started it?
Jewel,
Yeah. We finished 18th.
I think he got sacked, didn't he? About
Jewel till December, then it was Nigel Clough. On plus side, they finished 18th, but they also got to the semi-finals at League Cup.
That'll do.
Would you take that now?
And the top scorer scored 15.
That'll do.
Which will take that all day long.
Who was?
I'd take scoring 15.
Robbles.
Oh, right, okay.
Rob Olsek, Sheffield.
Robbles. Centre back.
No, the
centre forward, wasn't it?
Big centre
big
forward,
one. Yeah. Right, so Ben Hamer. I don't really want to do this because everyone's kind of hammered him all week, haven't they?
Dropped my phone.
Since I don't think he'd have even picked it up. So there's 4 goals that we've conceded. The first one, I'm an ex-goalkeeper coach. I don't know what he's doing, jiving on his knees. It's like he's trying to anticipate a low shot, and then Tielemans, he's hooked it a little bit, but you've got to wait for the ball to leave the foot before moving, and it's a mistake. Vardy's slightly off for goal number 2. But could Hamer have cut that out? You think you're looking, the ball sort of run across his 6-yard box. Could he have cut that out? Saying Vardy was offside, the Grant penalty was questionable, so it's evened itself out there. And it's our first penalty for 14 months, believe it or not. So
the free kick, though. The free kick.
To be fair, we can't pin everything on Hamer. Hogg got caught on the edge, and that was poor from him.
The thing is, but that's not to do with free kick.
But he gave a free kick.
Yeah, but the free kick's there to defend. Once it's given, doesn't matter who's giving it, the whys and wherefores. As a goalkeeper, he's still got a job to do, and he did it woefully, didn't he? It was bloody awful.
He moved before the free kick was taken, and Maddison's just seen him. And
he just dived. He dived straight up in the air and landed in the same place where he'd set off from.
It's like when he deflated a balloon, wasn't it? He just
it was just awful.
And then goal number 4 is a Stonewall penalty, isn't it? So Congolo could have been sent off, to be fair, because Vardy's ready to tap it in, isn't he? But so it's not good. So the main thing about Ben Hamer, Jan Zivert, because we're recording this on a Thursday.
It's his arms, don't work.
Or his legs. So the question is, I think Kosi, you might have a different view on this one as well. But so we'll go to Matt Glennon. Matt Glennon had his say. So Matt Glennon says he believes Huddersfield Town should play Jonas Lössl till the end of the season and look for a new number 1 next season. He says, I will play Lössl and look for a number 1 who began his career, blah, 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 blah. he doesn't think either Heyman or Coleman are going to be the goalkeeper next season, so doesn't see the point in playing him. There are two good goalkeepers, but if you want to mount a promotion challenge, you have to look at what. Well, he's used Leeds as an example.
Ben Heyman's got 2 years left on his contract, though. Who's going to want to take him?
Well, that's the thing. And Coleman's got 12 months as well, and he struggled at Shrewsbury. So, Town.
And the lad on loan at Notts County got sent off on Saturday, so you couldn't even call him back, could you?
To be fair, he's doing well there, isn't he, Schofield? But
that'll be the way I go, mate. But they won't do because, like you said there, he's probably got more chance of being around. Despite even if I know they've got years. And Coleman, I can't see him being at a club next year. Heyman, I know he's got 2 years, but I think he'll probably get another club. I think, yeah.
Would he? And
well, as a backup,
yeah, he goes to number 3.
But also, what's he getting paid from us? He's going to have to drop lower to get anywhere. He's then got to look at wages, hasn't he?
You've got to pay his loyalty
and
fee
let's be
because you've been in
fair,
him as
if
well.
you think about it with goalkeepers, on a long contract on a decent wage, they're harder to shift than anybody else because they're used to sitting on bench and watching. So, if he stays at Town as sub-third goalkeeper on whatever wage, he's used to watching football as a goalkeeper. Whereas, is he going to be willing to move to possibly sit and watch games or even play for half at wage? I don't think so.
I'd play Jonas Little to the end of the season, irrespective.
I'd play me till the end of the season.
You missed the deadline, mate. You can't sign.
Yeah, nobody noticed, would they?
Might do when you drop a clanger.
I don't see how we can bring him back in without bringing Zanka and Billing back. But although they say Billing's not fit, but I think reality we know, don't we? But
Losso were actually there in the same box as Christoph Bueller on Saturday.
Oh, there we go. Christoph's still around. Bobby, when players are having a bit of a stinker, does news travel? Because you're running around every player, you can hear players talking. Does news travel between players, and all of a sudden the players on the other side winding him up, and then players on his own kind of? Because egos around a little bit.
The referees winding him up a little bit. I kind of feel for goalkeepers a little bit. I know he didn't have the best performance at the weekend, but the problem with the goalkeeper is any of those players out there can make 4 mistakes in a game. And you probably won't notice it. It might cost you once. Goalkeeper makes 4 mistakes. Costs 4 goals. And as a referee, I get that because when I make a mistake that everyone remembers, it's usually one that will affect the game as well. Yeah. But yeah, you can feel it. And anyone who thinks footballers go out there and just rock up, same as they do with refs, football is a huge confidence game for a referee and for probably a goalkeeper as well. I would put that in as well. As an outfield player, you've got hopefully 9 other guys who will back you up, maybe 3 others who play your position as well. As a keeper, you're in a different kit to everyone else, same as a ref, and you make a mistake, everybody highlights it, and it usually ends in a goal. But yeah, you can feel it, of course you can. And I think when those things happen, when you have a poor game and you get, concede 4 goals, and confidence has to be low then. It does, then it's a matter of how do you pick that up. And if there's no one that's sort of challenging for that place in the next game, I think you're already relegated. Does it really matter? And I'm not saying any player will go out there and not try, because I genuinely don't believe that's the case. But the pressure on the player then, especially as a goalkeeper who's sat on the bench, like you said, for a long time and for several clubs, he will find a club if he goes somewhere else, because clubs will always take in someone who's a good backup, who will take someone who's got experience, an experienced backup. So you kind of wonder sometimes and think, well, is the confidence that low? But there's nobody there that you're going to challenge. You say, bring Losso back in, but
you've got. He knows full well what crowd think of him now.
It's how he brings that round, isn't it?
And he's then going to rock up on Sunday. He's on Saturday. He's already been told he's playing. Everybody knows he's playing.
A lot of pressure on him.
So all of a sudden, there's 3,000 Town fans there on Saturday.
It's not going to have a quiet game either.
No, there's 3,000 Town fans know he's starting game, but we're already cheesed off.
Yeah.
Or not saying all 3,000 are, but the majority will be cheesed off that he's playing game.
I don't think it's the pride disagreement.
And then he's got 60-odd thousand Tottenham fans.
I take a different view. I think for me, depends if you sink or swim, but live on TV, new stadium, Spurs, we're going to be under the pump all the March. I suppose you say no change from a different Saturday, but I just think this is a chance for him to kind of get some credit back in the bank.
I don't disagree with that.
But
that's
the counter argument to that is, and I was going to mention it,
the
Manchester City thing, obviously what happened with Lursel, whether they did come back late or whatever, and obviously it was slung straight in hand. I don't think he's ever recovered from that. If he never had played that and then he's coming in and that happened, then it's a different story. But I think because of that Man City from that day one, people have I mean, he obviously had a shocker there, and I don't think.
Thing is, it's not been isolated, and it's not even just down to. It's not even just out of stopping shots. I mean, when FA Cup tie at Bristol City, when you're putting a dead ball out for a corner as a goalkeeper,
and that
you're not buying yourself many supporters, are you?
And the goalie,
you know, and that was just when you're at the stage where, as a Premier League goalkeeper, you're causing that.
I think
it's a long road back from that kind of mistake.
There's definitely a confidence issue there because he's
massively.
The guy's played in the Champions League for Leicester.
Yeah,
he's coming into the prime of his career. He was good at Charlton, Kosi. You've got Charlton mates, I think, haven't you? Said after a ropey start, he was quite decent.
Didn't they beat us up to promotion that season?
He's not. He doesn't become a terrible goalkeeper overnight at all. But it's whether he can pull this back now. Whether there's a sort of, it depends on his mental state, doesn't it? Whether he's big enough to take it on the chin and
it's not even that now. I think
back.
Because so much of fan base is so far gone other way against him. I mean, I've thrown a couple of flippant remarks out tonight. And as a fan, you do that. It's it's probably not the right thing to do, to be fair. But
whopper.
Yeah, but I'm also think, you know, purely from a fan's point of view, there's 3,000 people there on Saturday, all nervous as soon as ball's within 40 yard of our goal.
They are if that executive coach sells.
And you've got a goalkeeper there, absolutely devoid of any confidence. And because he might be right, he might have the game of his life, television cameras, new stadium. And I'll be the first one. If Ben Hamer has a cracking game on Saturday, we still might lose 4-0. If he has a cracking game on Saturday, I'll be first to say so.
You know what? This season feels like it lasted about 2 years, doesn't it? Yeah. Honestly, I just talking about it there. I'm just thinking there's still 4 games after this.
He's right. The problem stemmed from the Man City game when they were culpable for, you could argue, 5 out of 6 goals
live on TV, against the champions.
Definitely,
you know,
nightmare.
Watch it again. 5, you could argue. But even if it's only 2. It's still 2, and then
the thing is, he never had a chance to recover, did he? Because
every game that he's played, and
the game after Man City went off injured after about 20 minutes, didn't he? So he's never had a chance to turn that round, and people remember him from Man City. Probably don't even remember that he played the next game.
To be honest, I remember more than putting the dead ball out for a corner. That's
all
that stands out for me, because I don't think I've ever seen that.
I think
all I'd say to anyone travelling down is, let's not do ironic cheers if he saves one or what have you, and that as well. That's garbage, and I'm worried about that on Saturday. We don't want rubbish like that on Saturday, but it does worry me if he doesn't start.
It'll happen. Yeah, nailed on. I'd never do that in ground.
No, I
won't. Wrong.
Yeah,
because we're there. End of the day, they're walking out there on Saturday with a town badge on the shirt. They're ours. Well, get behind every one of them. You know.
Well, you could tell he was going to have a tough day, couldn't you, Neil? When he picked the ball up after 10 minutes, and he tried to ping it out to Eric Durham, and he put it in. Top of the stand, didn't he? And I just kind of laughed. I just went, oh well.
Tell you what, though,
sometimes it just keeps happening. It just snowballs and snowballs, and you stand on.
It's going to be.
And then how do you try it? What's it gets?
Well, it does.
How good was Neil Maddison, by the way? He was absolutely sensational.
James Madison.
Sorry, James Madison.
Neil Madison, Southampton.
Yeah, Bobby left him. So, yeah,
he's great.
He was absolutely sensational. He picked his second, probably his other best game against us at home when they played at King Power. But he was brilliant, and I'd love what they had. They had 2, kind of wingers, Gray and Barnes. They really took it to us.
Madison would clearly fit in now how England play. He'd fit in that team of trait now, and he's that good.
We could have been 2-2 though if it wasn't for that brilliant save, honestly. And it was just like I was thinking, wow, we've been outplayed for this. And
it's stuff like that you cling to though, because that's Michael's save off of Grant. As brilliant as that save was, I was just really happy that we've got a striker who's making that run, getting that position, and,
it was a good bit of play by
something on it to get on target. And it was
just
great balling from Mbenza, to be honest.
Like you said though, Neil, just everything, we're all pinning his hopes on this. Well, it's hard not to be so excited with what he's delivered, but someone help him, please. Please.
So, post-match, Jan Sievert said Leicester were more clinical, and we had our chances. I watched a sort of a longer interview, and I think what he pretty much said were Leicester were. I thought Leicester strolled around in third gear. To be honest, when I look back,
Schmeichel's made 2
brilliant missing for Leicester. Maguire missing, and
I can't remember Ben Hamer actually making a save or needing to make a save in the game. Well, he needed to
Apart from
from
free kick and for the
those
goal.
4. But he's not made a good save, has he? Whereas Schmeichel's made 2 game-changing
belting
saves. So
yeah.
I don't subscribe that Leicester were completely dominant. I think they strolled through in third gear and did what they needed to do.
That's
and finished us off at the end.
That's the thing. Teams are playing against us without actually breaking sweat.
That's the shame, isn't it?
Problem in the Premier League, though, you've got a goalkeeper who makes 2 good saves again, and you've got strikers who finish 2 chances that they get again.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. That's
Yeah,
the difference in the Premier
absolutely,
League and the Championship. That the team can have 2 shots against you, beat you 2-0 if you
But,
miss 4.
yeah. Burnley are just brilliant at. I think their shots to conversion rate is incredibly high.
Edge of the box, a header clear by Capu, and Watford will chase out. The Platter's in there. Here's Zanka to turn it into the path. Yes! And Cummins scored! Cummins has scored one of the most important goals of Huddersfield Town's history. It's a big, big brick in the wall of Huddersfield Town's determination to stay in the Premier League. In itself, it won't keep them up. But Town are nearly there, with 4 games left to play in the Premier League. It's Town 1, Watford 0, and Cummins has got his moment.
So let's move away from what the club do or the team don't do particularly well to something that the football club does do very well. So something that I think tugged at everybody's heartstrings on Saturday was that we had a little girl who'd really good story from America, wasn't she? Bella from Texas. She'd been through chemotherapy for I think it's medulloblastoma, which is a form of brain cancer, and she'd seen, she's obviously had chemotherapy, lost her hair, and she's seen Aaron Moy, who's got kind of that big sort of Crichton from Red Dwarf kind of head, haven't they, and what have you. And so she'd seen him on I've seen his lack of hair on TV, and just kind of said he's like me, and he's become a bit of a hero to her. So it was really nice that there was a sponsor for the connected to the club. I think the sponsor had also made the equipment that she was treated with.
Yeah, that was it.
And it's really nice that she's come over. She's had a great time, and there's little things like this are what the club do great. And this is where it's a Premier League football club for me, Neil. Never mind the team. These are great stories, and these are good imprints that the club will leave on the Premier League, I think.
It's always been the same since Dino walked in the door. It's as simple as that. The great work he does. Not just, the story at the weekend's fantastic, but everything that they do, big sleep outs right away to homeless people. The Town Foundation do fantastic work feeding kids every day.
There's a new breakfast. There's a new one as well, isn't there?
They've raised over £1 million for Yorkshire Air Ambulance. It's phenomenal what they do. Completely selfless. And it's the stuff to do this. A lot of people don't sort of take much notice of it and they sort of decry it quite a little bit because we aren't winning on a Saturday and whatever else. But that doesn't take away from utter class that the football club shows off the pitch doing this kind of thing.
We do so much right, don't we? I think it gets lost in some of this.
Well, end of the day, it's a results business, and people look at Saturday and 3 points, but there's so much more that this football club's done for the community since. It's. And I'll say it again. I'm banging the drum. Yeah, I'm clearly Dano's biggest fan, but everything that man has done for this football club has been a positive message, and you can't fault it. And when he does eventually leave, it'll be a very, very sad day for his football club and the town as a whole.
Community, yeah.
But he's put so much in place that when he has moved on, the foundation will carry on. Everything else that they do will carry on because that's Huddersfield Town. That's what Huddersfield Town does, and that's what Huddersfield Town stands for. And that's, for me, it's class.
I can't remember many clubs that have gone out of the Premier League having so few points and brought light to the Premier League on the pitch, and yet when they got relegated, there was no focus on how bad Huddersfield had been this season in national press, BBC, and obviously I'm picking up from over in Norway, even their press. So much that was written was that this club has been a breath of fresh air to the Premier League. The fans have been a breath of fresh air, but what they've done and doing it the right way and not coming in to try and buy success, they've brought the town together. They've made people proud of their football team again. And that, at the weekend, again, you almost get used to that, don't you? Even from over there, you get used to nice things, and you shouldn't, because it's not
normal.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen all the time, and those are the stories that will keep kids coming back and not convert them to supporting some of the big six teams, and still see them walking around the town in town shirts rather than in Man City, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, I should say. Sorry.
Good words there. So, well done to Sean Jarvis and everyone in the commercial department who's done that great stuff.
A switch quickly infield to Moy again, and Moy's looking at the penalty area. 1-2 Ikachunga. Here's Moy, right-footed. 1-0 Huddersfield Town. A goal of fabulous quality. Fitting for the level that Huddersfield Town now play at in the Premier League. It's their first at the highest level, and it's Huddersfield Town 1, Newcastle United 0 from Aaron Moy.
You sit in the cowshed, Loyal.
Stand.
Well,
obviously we can't stand on Saturday. Did you see some of them videos that were going around Tottenham on midweek?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, obviously it says in your ticket, and that's normally a guide. So yeah, warning: expect to be ruthlessly handled if you stand up. But
I think if it's a bad game, I might just stand up and wait for them over.
I think that idea you're walking out after ref blows could be a good idea. But yeah, anyway,
there's a statement put out by the couch. You sit in the couch or stand or.
Yeah, really interesting with this, because I thought when it came out, the Cowshed Law statement's like proper black, the kind of imposing statement, and I was thinking, I wonder where this is going, kind of reading it down on that as well. They were almost like feeling like they've let, kind of people down for the support. And
I think they've done themselves a disservice. Sorry,
I do.
I think they've sort of
almost
played themselves down a bit too much.
I think it was also a plea for kind of more help and stuff. And I looked on the thread, and there were a lot of people saying, where do I kind of sign up? There was one guy, brilliant, was saying, I'll bring my van round, I'll, drop this and that and the other and stuff and that as well. But yeah, it was, obviously I go watch a lot of football abroad and stuff, and they're right what they're saying. It's a different culture in England, and I think the result, they are right to acknowledge the stuff on the pitch is affecting the atmosphere, where I think it would any club, to be fair, even like the maddest of ultras, in some of, Poland and Italy and what have you, and that as well. And I think they've tried to do something really different, and this was always going to be a struggle. I don't get what you say. You need something to cheer. And wow, we've just had absolutely nothing really in that as well.
For fans to carry on with level of support they have.
Think of the displays we've had. They've been brilliant.
How many goals at home and how many goals away. And, we've won, get real about it, we've won 3 games.
Yeah.
3. For fans to still be anywhere near behind the team 100% like they are with 3 wins is phenomenal. And I'd challenge any other team in country, to still be supporting the team like Town do.
I'll throw that in, Neil. I was flicking around championship games on Tuesday, and there was a rather large following at Preston, and I watched 20 minutes of the game, and it was a slow game, and it was played in next to silence despite people there. And then obviously once they score, it picks up, but I don't think it's dissimilar to everywhere else. I think you're right, Kosi. I think what you say is that the atmosphere is led by what's happening on the pitch, whereas abroad it can be political, it can be all sorts, can lead it. And
got I think an agenda, and it's a bonus what happens.
If we start with an home game next season and win, and fans can look and think, something to get behind here, that could be a catalyst for a decent season. I'm not saying we're going to go back up, but that could be a catalyst for a decent season. Just something simple as a good performance and a win.
If you think this was synonymous with a promotion season, it started, obviously, I know it started back behind the other goal in the rain and stuff, and that's been well documented, Scotland and what have you, but I think really our journey, this has been as big a part of it as Christopher Schindler's penalty. I know it sounds a bit ridiculous, but it was, and we got that end, banners, the displays, the atmosphere, the nights, incredible. I never thought I'd see things like it at Town, people coming in with a kind of loud ale and what have you and that as well. It's been great to see other people, obviously we know people that are involved with it deep, like Pauls and stuff, but there's other people that are kind of leading it now and that as well. And to me, this is as much of a, come on, we need more help and that as well. We just start at 10 people, and I think maybe that's because of, fortunes, that kind of interest is not kind of what it was, and that's, well, let's be honest, all of us around this table have struggled to be enthused to go to games. Let's be honest, who's excited for Watford at home next week? Do we have to go, etc.? So these guys have been, rightly or wrongly, you lead us on the singing and stuff. I think they've got nothing to be ashamed about whatsoever, and I'm with them. You know, fresh start. But we've talked about the club having a fresh start tonight. These guys wanting a fresh start. For me, I don't like to wish my life away, my time away. But may the 12th can't come soon enough.
I don't think they've done much wrong, to be honest. But you know, everybody's got a voice in the stadium, so you know it's not just up to one section to make that atmosphere as well. But with that statement out, Kosi, I think the main question that comes out of it for me, for you, Clappers next season.
Well, the biggest one for me is the badge. I'm liking to think all this big sale and everything that's happening at the moment is just because
get rid of that sodding dog.
Yeah,
It's all over. It's been all over everything for 2 years. I don't think it's going.
No, I mean it's been done.
No, but on
off the kit, maybe.
Because to me, that's a reminder of relegation.
And to be honest, they'd get so many people back on board. If you're listening, Sean, you get so many people back on board. Get rid of all the shield stuff around it.
Yes, get rid of that shield.
Get rid of the 3 stars. And it's not dismissing history. Get rid of the shield. Get rid of the 3 stars. Just go back to the
stars
old
on the back
fashioned
if you really
crest.
wanted them. Yeah.
Bang on.
Yeah. Clappers will never going to.
You've said it a few times, Matt. Though you've said it a few times. When you look on, when they put all 20 Premier League badges up, you can hardly see ours because the badge has gone that small because of that sodding shield around it.
Go on, Dale, get it all out here. Come on,
it
does my head in. It does my head in.
It took us 3 months to get rid of Effortless on. I mean, come on.
It just looks like someone's done something in clip art, you know, and then just drag the Huddersfield Town badge over.
It looked naff, and that dog thing.
Have we only 2 minutes never to have the name on this shirt though? It's like the Terriers.
Yeah, it's
Did they go? Did it say Hull City? Did it say Tigers? I can't remember, but yeah,
it does.
It'll be interesting to see what they do on that because obviously it'll brought us attention in kind of around the world or what have you.
It will, but to be fair, now they can't do it again next season because it's associated with
I think
no points and dismal, awful football.
A lot of it's aimed at the Chinese market, isn't it? Sort of branding for the Chinese market.
The thing is with the Clappers, I'm assuming they cost to make.
Yeah,
I wonder how many they waste.
Yeah.
I wonder if they recycle them because I think we get them where
They'd
we
be
are.
better off just putting them in boxes in entrance.
Yeah.
And if people want one way past, grab one. But some poor sods putting them out in ground wouldn't want that job, would you?
And they don't put them everywhere.
20,000 Clappers. Yeah. You know,
I don't think they put them in. I think they should bring back the vuvuzelas, Kosi. That was a good day
at
Millwall.
Wash your mouth out.
It was like having a swarm of wasps around you, wasn't it?
Awful.
On Sky as well.
I hate stuff like that. I hate it. It's not football, that.
I think it's alright for kids.
We've got 2 hands and a gob. Crack on.
For kids, not so bad, but for adults, use your hands.
Yeah.
Grow up. So, Neil, my laptop's about to die, but it's alright, we've got a backup. Do you want to give us a charity update on Huddersfield Street Kitchen?
Excuse me, yeah, I will. As you all know, I'm banging the drum for Huddersfield Street Kitchen. It's very close to my heart. I've been involved with it now since January, helping homeless and needy people every Sunday in Huddersfield Town Centre, 12 till 3. We provide hot and cold food, hot and cold drinks, snacks, takeaway pack-ups, sleeping bags, quilts, pillows, blankets, bedding, dog food, cat food, toiletries, toothpaste, toilet rolls, whatever.
Soap.
Sanitary towels, soap, you name it, we provide it. And it's all 100% led, supported, paid for by the generous Huddersfield public. There's no funding for it whatsoever. It's purely on donations and kind-hearted people out there. Last Sunday, a rough estimate, so this isn't an exact figure, but we know it's pretty near because of how many dishes and stuff we used. We fed approximately 120 people.
That's really good.
It is, but it isn't.
Disgraceful, isn't it? 2019.
We've got. I mean, I don't want to get too political about it because obviously that's not what this podcast's about. But the country's currently blowing billions of pounds, arguing over whether we're staying or going in EU, and those billions of pounds could have built God knows how many hospitals, supported God knows how much to emergency services, helped homeless people no end, and it's stuff like that. The country's at a complete shambles, and there's people out there like Huddersfield Street Kitchen, people just honest, everyday people putting their own time, effort and money into helping others and these other people, they're living their hardest possible life. It don't get any worse than being out in hail and snow and rain and let's be fair, even on a relatively nice day like today, you go outside now and you've got to spend the night outside, it's bloody cold. Yeah. You know, so we just try to support where we can with that. I actually did I did a presentation last night at an event called Huddersfield Soup, which is like a crowdfunding event. Unfortunately, we didn't win. But we raised so much awareness last night. We had people offering to make us stuff, people offering to bring us stuff, people offering to do us posters to get around the town to sort of push it a bit more, and just phenomenal. And if anybody does want to help us, DM me at Bradford Terrier, or we've now got a Twitter page for Huddersfield Street Kitchen. It's at Huddersfield ST2 on Twitter, so you can get in touch with me on that. And like I say, we're there. If there's stuff that you can't get to us that you want us to come and pick up, we'll try and arrange that. It's not logistically easy because obviously I live in Bradford, but we'll try as best. And obviously we are there 12 till 3 every Sunday, so if there's anything you want to bring, food, clothes, whatever, small donation to help us go and buy whatever, every little penny I can guarantee you is used towards helping those people who need it.
Okay, thanks for that now.
Cheers.
Barnes with the flick, Johnson with the turn, Johnson with the goal, and the game turned on its head.
So moving on, we've had a resignation on the board this week. Roger Burnley. I don't think a lot of people probably knew he was there. He was a non-executive director. Involved mostly on the commercial side, I think he was involved. Apparently a really good sounding board for a lot of people, Dean Hall said. So he has left to focus on his role at Asda. So best of luck to Roger Burnley. And if you ever do listen to the podcast, you are more than welcome to come
Has
on
to
here
be done,
as
isn't it?
well.
Yeah.
Every little helps, Kosi.
I know, this is how slow news is at Huddersfield Town moment, isn't it? Yeah, that's...
You play up front?
Yeah, 80% off your official gear as well. Like, get you sent out like I did the other. I got myself a mug, Neil, for £3. I got myself a sweatshirt for £12 and a hat for £5. I've taken advantage of this season. I want some memories from the season, Neil, to remind me. So that's why I raided the club shop yesterday.
So those hats are quite good, I think.
Yeah, they are.
All right. You got your favourite dog on it, but they're...
Mine has not, just got initials written, but yeah, anyway. What are we on about here, man?
Okay, so we'll go to we'll come off mugs.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
said
mean the
up
cups.
on it said up on it, but we haven't had any since August, have we really? But yeah.
Moves in, Jepson's there, Billy's in, a goal, Chris Billy, Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Right, so we sent a tweet out as well for your agenda points as well. So aside from players and summer plans, which we've done to death on here, is there anything else you guys would like to hear discussed on the podcast this week? So we'll pick a few of those out. Ben Denby is excited for the new Game of Thrones season, just for you, Neil. Bobby's nodding.
Absolutely,
I'm nodding.
yeah.
Because he's looking
I'm
perplexed.
I've never watched it.
I think we're
Bit as
50-50.
your owner though, that's about as near as I
Midget
get.
in dragon porn, not interested.
That's the best thing about it. Andrew McDermott's come up with a good one. He said if the team from the playoff final could play the current team, what would the score be? I feel that the team spirit from 2 years
0-0.
ago would be I think the playoff team would win it late on, is what I think. I think they'll win it
After
late
74 minutes, probably.
on. Yeah.
74 hours.
So okay, so Freddie Cock has come up with a best worst away day stories, top 3 favourite away grounds. I think we'll save that one for the end of season awards do.
Best away ground Exeter because you can get Domino's pizza.
That's decent.
Yeah.
Right, so Eddie Stagg sent another one in. He said found with some good feedback on last week, so thank you. He said any chance you could do a bit on former Town players and how much they would be worth in today's market, or in light of Danny Schofield's birthday, or where are they from players area? So we'll talk about players. So Marcus Stewart's obviously one that comes to mind, isn't it? You think, Wonder what Marcus Stewart's knocking goals in.
Fortune.
He went for, I think it was 2.7 million, rising to 3 if Ipswich got promoted, which they did.
Which was ridiculously cheap then.
Yeah, so Marcus Stewart now, he's going to get you 20 goals a season in the Championship.
40 million.
40 million, do you think?
Why not? Look what he did for Ipswich in Premier League. Virgin England squad. Dom Solanke went for 20 million. He scored one Premier League goal. No comparison. Marcus Stewart was class. Absolute class.
Do you think he'd do all right in the Premier League today? Because Marcus Stewart lacked speed, didn't he?
David Silva's not rapid, is he?
He's not slow.
Marcus Stewart on a cart horse, to be fair.
Yeah. No, he wasn't, but he wasn't rapid for a striker.
Scored a lot of goals, though.
Scored a lot of headers, actually, did Marcus
Scored a lot of goals. Scored a lot of goals for Ipswich in Premier League. Got them. Did they get to Europe?
They
did, didn't they? He got England squad were injured, wasn't he?
And now they're playing League One next year. Just
look at money. Years. Just look at money players are going for now. 40 million is probably conservative for somebody who scores that amount, isn't it?
Trying to think of someone else. Jamie Vincent was a player I quite liked, left back. What do you think he would fetch? When he was in his prime,
£1 million, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
Couple of mil. We'll move on from that one. We'll tell you what. Send us a list, Eddie, and then we'll go through them one by one. And Danny Schofield, I think, is now working at Leeds United Academy at Thorpe Arch. Judas. Right. Okay. So another strange. We're getting some strange ones through here. James Bentley says you can serve any food and any drink at the stadium. Pick one of each. I'll let you have one, Bobby.
Well, it won't be your jammy dodgers. You didn't bring enough. Brought 3 fig rolls. Any food and drink at the stadium, what would it be?
Yeah.
Straight down.
He said he actually followed it. I said to him, are we working behind the kiosk? They said, we're picking something that the club should serve. And he said, you seem like a bunch of a podcast that would like a souffle. So I'm not sure what that means.
Get that bars involved. We'll have a curry.
We'll have a Yorkie and a bovril.
A curry and a pint of Cobra.
Good
Job
pie.
done.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so at HTFC Images said, could you discuss why Flo, a promising young player in 17-18, went from a good prospect to a weak defensive, always on the floor player?
Not good enough.
Did David Wagner pull him to bits in his technical changes? I didn't think Flo was that good in 17-18. One thing that I always don't get is why he's 25 this summer, is Flo. What's the cut-off for a prospect? Because I always say...
Not a young player, is it, at 25 anymore? It's not a young player. You
Philip,
finish your career at 32, so
He's
halfway through. Middle-aged.
Years left.
Yeah.
So Philip Billing gets pelters at 21 for not being the finished article.
Yeah.
Flo Hadajinai is a good young player at 23, 24. I'm not really having that. I wasn't a big fan. I thought Tommy Smith made quite a few errors in his first season. I think Flo was probably a little bit Emperor's new clothes, to be honest. And you have to kind of pay, what with the system that Wagner picked as well. He had Congolo at left back, and the 3 would wrap around a little bit, so that gave Flo a lot more license to do what he wanted to do on the flank. But when it came to actually defending in a 4, when Congolo wasn't there, I think that really exposed his weaknesses, and then the defensive side of his game is not his strong point. He's fast, but I think we've seen the proper Hadajinai.
I think the biggest thing you need to know for Saturday is that's the nearest underground station to Tottenham's ground is 35-minute walk. So don't think, this is a public information announcement, don't think you can just get off like you can at most grounds and just walk in the ground.
Right, well, thanks for everybody that's got in touch on Twitter. I think usually what's customary on this podcast to end the show is that Richard Kosmala will sing us out, but if Bobby would like to do a duet, feel free to join in.
Bad enough at refereeing, my singing's even worse. Trust me.
So thanks for everybody for getting in touch.
Once upon a time we were falling in love, now we're only falling apart. It's true though, isn't it?
You can finish with Jan
14 points. We should take up darts. Oh God, I don't know. I'll be your dream, I'll be your wish, I'll be your fantasy. I'll be your hope, I'll be your love, be everything that you need.
I love you more with every breath, truly, madly, deeply do. I will be strong, I will be faithful, cause I'm counting on a new beginning, a reason for living, a deeper meaning. I wanna stand with you on a mountain, I wanna bathe with you in the sea, I wanna lay like this forever, until the sky falls down on me. And when the stars are shining send it to heaven. Remember you wanna cry. The tears of joy for all the pleasure and the certainty that we're surrounded by the comfort and protection of the highest power. In lonely hours, the tears devour you. I wanna stand with you on a mountain. I wanna bathe with you in the sea. I wanna lay like this forever until the sky falls down on me. Falls down on me.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!